We'll do a review in Likutei Sichos in Chelik Chof Aleph in volume 21. This is the second Sicha of the Parsha of Mishpatim. It's a Rashi Sicha, and the Rebbe discusses here the pasuk in the beginning of Shvi, in which the pasuk says that the Eibishter is going to send a angel before the Jewish people to bring them to the place that he had prepared. So what does it mean that he has prepared? So Rashi brings down two different pshatim. One that means that he has prepared for them, for the Yidden. The second pshat looks like that the pshat is the Eibishter prepared is not for them, but he's prepared for himself. The Rebbe goes through the different pshatim, but the Rebbe explains that what Rashi is about over here, what is the whole thing of preparation? Why are we saying that the Eibishter prepared? How did the Eibishter prepare Eretz Yisrael for the Yidden coming into Eretz Yisrael? It doesn't seem like anything was ready. On the contrary, the land of Eretz Yisrael was fully inhabited by the nations that were living in Eretz Yisrael at the time. So where is the preparation? And that's how the Rebbe explains the different interpretations in Rashi, whether in this case preparation means zimanti, that is just in a way of not any physical changes, but this is just a sort of almost like an invitation that that place should be, but there's no actual change, or there is a change in Lamaila, as we'll see in the Sikha, but let's go step by step. So Aleph, in Posik, Hine Onoichi Shaleach Maloch Lefanecha. The Posik says, behold, I'm sending an angel before you, Goimer, and to bring you to the place that I have prepared. Is Rashi Mefarish, Rashi explains what is the meaning of Asher Hachi Noisi. So that I have prepared to give to you. Zimanti losis lochem. As we'll see, the Rebbe will explain the exact lotion of Zimanti losis lochem. But undernoch bringt Rashi a zweiten Pirush kid lekamen siv beis. And then Rashi brings a second interpretation that the Zimanti Losis Lochem is the Beis Hamikdash Lamailo, which is Mekuvan Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalamat, as we'll see so. Mefarshim learn that what is Rashi coming to tell us over here? Because in the pasuk it just says that I prepared. It doesn't say that he prepared for whom. Asher Achinoisis is like almost missing like the word Lochem. So Rashi is filling in Asher Achinoisi for you. But in that case, Rashi doesn't have to say Asher Zimanti Lo Seis Lochem. Rashi could have just said Asher Achinoisi Lochem. Mefarshim lernen, as Rashi Bavondo, Mefarshim learn that Rashi is trying to answer over here in Posuk State Asher Achinoisi. It says, I'm going to bring you to the place that I prepared. Stop. Plain, it doesn't say where. Unzoknit farvemen, it doesn't say for whom. Unzoknit farvemen, the Eibishter hotzugigrei demokim. It does not say for whom Hashem prepared the place. He said Rashi mefarish, so therefore Rashi explains, as the rachanoisi is losis lochem. The preparation was to give to you. Vibald ober. So, and then they go on. So this is the reason why Rashi is explaining. But why does Rashi have to bring down a second shot? The Mishpatim explained. Because why doesn't the Takis say Asher Chenoisi Loch? According to this interpretation, it's difficult. Why does the pasuk not say clearly, explicitly, that I have prepared for you, just instead of saying that I prepared? That's why Rashi brings a second interpretation. As Asher Achinoisi meant, this that I prepared, Taka means not that I prepared for you, but achinoisi, I prepared for myself, sort of. Meint kvar mekoimi nikar kenegdei. My place is already recognizable opposite it, opposite the place where the Beis Hamikdash is going to be built. I'll bring you to the place that I prepared because there is already a preparation in above in the Beis Hamikdash Shalamayla. And Beis Hamikdash Shalamayla mekuvan keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalamato. For the Beis Hamikdash above is directly opposite the Beis Hamikdash Shalamato. So the place that I'll bring you to the Beis Hamikdash, is directed that a place that I have already prepared, the Beis Hamikdash Shalmayla. Kilakama Siv Beis, as the Rebbe will discuss more in Siv Beis, the second interpretation and the issues that we have with them. But the Mefarshim explain that what is the Rashi we want with bringing in a second interpretation, because first interpretation that I prepared for you, we have a problem. Why doesn't it say achinoisi loch or achinoisi? But here we're saying that hachinoisi was loidem pirush is that hachinoisi given la'atzmi. According to this interpretation, I prepared was for himself. Ki'ilu vesvod gishtanen ashar hachinoisi li, as if it would say to the place that I prepared for myself, which is the Beis Hamikdash Shalamaylo. So why doesn't that say? We said that we don't like achinoisi, the first shot, because it doesn't say loch. It doesn't say here li, because achinoisi doesn't have to say loch li, because that is what achinoisi means. That's how the Mefarshim learn. Unas darf nicht stehen befedish. Because generally when he just say achinoisi means for himself. Der Pirush is aber nicht verstandig. The Rebbe says this is not understood. The problem that this Mefarshim explained, that why it doesn't say Asher Achinoisi Loch, is not a problem. Because when we're talking to the Yidden, we say, I'll bring you to the place that I prepared, it means I prepared for the Yidden. Aleph. In Derech HaPshat, is milachatchila nitkin kasher in the learning in the simple level is not a question to begin with. Was the pasuk zog da'achinoisi stam? Why the pasuk says plain without saying for you, just for balsis moving meilov, because that's something which is self-understood. As the achinoisi is for Yidden, that the preparation was for Yidden veg of him, and that's in pasuk. About whom the pasuk is talking. The pasuk is talking to bring the Yidden elamok mashar achinoisi that I prepared is for you. And then the other thing is that Rashi, you see, is trying to say something more, because Rashi doesn't just say lechem. He says asher zimanti losis lochem. Rashi could have just said, look, if Rashi was just trying to say whom he prepared it, why does Rashi say such a long way, asher zimanti lochem? Rashi's trying to say something more with asher zimanti lochem. Lifizeh base. Lifizeh, if this is the problem with Rashi, gedav zogna bekitzer. Rashi should have said shortly, al derech v'delosh von the Even Ezra, though similar to the language as the Even Ezra says here, asher achinoisi lochem. He adds the word, I prepared for you. Parvos is Rashi, first of all, Aleph Mairich Bilushoinoi. He has a long loshen, he prolongs in his language, Asher Zimanti Losis Lochem. So that's a whole bunch of words instead of just saying Lochem. Unochmer, and more than that, besides adding the words Asher Zimanti Losis, it is Mishaner from Loshen HaPosik. Rashi changes the Loshen HaPosik. Achinoisi. Unutz the word zimanti and use the word zimanti. Rashi could have said Asher hachinoisi loches loses lochem. Why is Rashi saying Asher zimanti loses lochem? This will be the key to the Rebbe's answer, as we'll see so. But first, the Rebbe goes to the second interpretation of the pasuk in Hachinois. The Noch is the base. The Noch is Rashi Mamshir. The Rashi continues. Zeu pshuta. This is the simple meaning. Umedroshe, and the medrash is El hamokim asher achinoisi, to the place that I have already prepared. Kvar mekoimi nikar connected. I have prepared my place is already recognizable. Opposite it. Then Rashi continues, this is one of the psukim, one of the verses that tell us, that say, that the Beis Hamikdash above is directly opposite the Beis Hamikdash below. That the Beis Hamikdash that was built here in Yerushalayim below is directly below Keneged the Beis Hamikdash Shalmayim. Now, the Tam, now Rashi, first the issue is Rashi says in Midrash, Rashi doesn't just say Kvar Mekoimi Nikar. Rashi goes through the verses. El Hamokim Asher Achinoisi. He brings down the psukim again. Why is Rashi bringing down? First, the Rebbe explains why in the second pshat Rashi brings down the words again. El Hamokim Asher Achinoisi, because these are the words in the pasuk that help us understand the second pshat, and that is the words that change according to the first and second pshat. So that we understand, then the Rebbe is going to ask the question. The first Rebbe explains that Tam, what is the reason for Vos Rashi is Nocham Almighty Diverta? Why does he quote the words again from the pasuk? El Hamokim Asher Achinoisi. Instead of starting right away with the pshat, Kvar Mekoimi Nikar, to tell the Achinoisi is that my place is prepared, the Beis Hamikdash Shalmayla. In the zweiten Pirush is moving. That Rebbe says is understood. Because Leram is, because this tells us that that is the key, what makes the second pshat necessary and better than the first pshat. They explain us the benefit of the second pshat. As loit medrasha is glatiker pshat aloshin, that according to the medrash, the simple meaning of the language is more smoother. Was the posik zokt el hamokim. The pasuk says El Hamokim. Mokim means the place. According to the first pshat, Shem says, "I'll bring you to the place," but it means basically to the land, because we're talking about all of Eretz Yisrael. Place within the land is the Beis Hamikdash. So the pasuk is trying to say there's an advantage in the pasuk when it says El Hamokim. We're talking actually about a place. We're talking about specifically the place of the Mikdash, not just generally the land of Eretz Yisrael. So the Rashi brings down the words El Hamokim Asher Chenoisi. He's moving Leramis to hint as Lloyd Medrash, according to the Medrash, is Glatiker Pshat Alosh. It's smoother. It's more simply the meaning of the words. Was the pasuk zokt El Hamokim? Why does the pasuk says I'll bring you El Hamokim Asher Achinoisi, not nit El Haaretz Asher Achinoisi, Val Der Achinoisi Basitzich, nit to Eretz Yisrael, because it does not refer to Eretz Yisrael, the whole land, nor to Mokum HaMikdash, to the place of the Mikdash. So this is hinted, and Rashi brings down El Hamokim, the place. But that's not such a question and not a problem on the first shot. It's glatiker, it's smoother to say Mokim means the place, but we can call Mokim, the entire land can be called the Mokim as well. It says, oh, but it's not a absolute question that would decide against the first pshat. A Pirush Aleph is not a problem. Weil in Posig findet man also a ganze Land. In the Pasuk, we find that even an entire land, wird angerufen Mokum, is also referred to as Mokum. And on the contrary, from Hemshech Inyan Do, it's actually, in our context, it's actually not talking about specifically about the Mokum HaMikdash, even though the word Mokum is more placed, but in the context over here, Ba'adarabbe, von Hemshech Inyan do is in the context, in the flow of the idea over here, is l'chayda mukhrach. We have to say as ul havicha lamokim goimer, that when it says I bring you to a place, that's nit wegen amokin mesuyim in Eretz Yisrael. We're not talking about a specific place like the Mokum Hamikdash in Eretz Yisrael, no wegen Eretz Yisrael b'chlal. We are talking here in the pasuk generally about Eretz Yisrael. So in the flow of the words, the Mokum over here, yes, there's a glattikite that it means the Beis Hamikdash, but in the context over here, it's talking about Eretz Yisrael. Why? Bibal das loit medroshe. Uh, uh, Oh, so what happens? What is the benefit? What is the benefit to mokim? But it means, but it means, in other words, but the word mokim itself is better according to the medrash. The bald as loit medrashe aleph. According to the medrash, number one. So why is Rashi bring down the words again? El hamokoim asher hachinoisi. According to the medrash, beitzich der taich von el hamokoim. But we're changing the word. El hamokoim means to Eretz Yisrael. According to the medrash, we changed el hamokoim to mean the Beis Hamikdash. Un beis lefizeis glatiker the loshen asher hachinoisi. And also the language of that I have prepared. Come on, as the Rebbe will say later on, that a preparation means that something took place, there was a change. But what is the achinoisi? But it makes more, fits more with the pshat of the medrash. So the Rebbe is Rashi mighty the verter, Arab bringing the medrash. So Rashi brings down the words El hamokem asher achinoisi, because the word mokem changes, the word hachinoisi changes. And therefore, Rashi requotes it when he brings down the Lashon of the Medrash. So that question that would arise is not a problem. It fits for Rashi to bring down again, to requote from the pasuk again. And therefore, but we still need to understand was Rashi's. Why is Rashi adding here a whole new idea? Rashi says, these are one of the psukim that say that the Beis Hamikdash above is mekuvan keneg Beis Hamikdash mata. The lechayre, was it on negeit zu wissen? Why is it important for us to know and madgi sein to emphasize as a seinem Faran noch mikrois she'emrim shebeis Hamikdash amaylo chulu, that there is additional verses that also say the same concept, that the Beis Hamikdash above is directed connected the Beis Hamikdash mata. How does that help? Maybe the Rebbe says, maybe we're just trying to say there's other psukim because maybe the child will have a problem understanding what does it mean that Beis Hamikdash is mekuvan, and Rashi is just saying that. So Rashi is sort of saying, well, there's other psukim that point to that same idea, but this is idea the Rebbe says was brought down before. The Rashi has no problem. The Rashi doesn't have to say there, doesn't mention there that this is one of other psukim. You can't say Adosh is an inyan, that this is an idea that there is a Beis Hamikdash L'maylo is mekuvan connected Beis Hamikdash L'mata. Is a inyan was like seichel from ben chamish lemikra, is something which is not fit well with the idea of a 5-year-old. Und der Farm muss Rashi moisiv zayin. And therefore, Rashi has to add al derech verzok become a mekoym is similar to what he says in many places. Motzosi loy chover megifin deminyan and ocherte, that I found this to have another place that we find in other places. Rashi already brought this idea twice that Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila is Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shel Mata, as Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila is Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shel Mata, that the Beis Hamikdash above is directed opposite the Beis Hamikdash Shel Mata. Und in jener Erter is Rashi nit moisiv de Werte der Reihe, but there Rashi doesn't add the words, which is the proof. Bezechel min ha-Mikra Shem is one of the verses that say this. If Rashi is uncomfortable just saying that there's in our pasuk, he has to say that there is other places because he's uncomfortable saying just over here that it says that there's a Beis Hamikdash L'mayla directed connected to Beis Hamikdash L'mata. How come in the previous places Rashi can quote this and Rashi doesn't seem to have a problem? And then the Rebbe is going to ask a few diyukim in the Medrash. We have to also understand some specific language of Rashi and Mehem. Aleph. The Mokar for Medrash, the source of the Medrash, is in Tanchuma, is in the Tanchuma. Aber dort is the Loshen, over there the Loshen is a little different. Zechel min ha-mikroes ha-mechabris. These are one of the psukim that make it clear Beis Hamikdash Shalamaton Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalamailon, that the Beis Hamikdash below is directly Beis Hamikdash above. So you start with Lamata and you go to above. Parvos is Rashi Mahapach them Seder. Why is Rashi swapping the order? Beis Hamikdash Shalamailon Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalamata. That the Beis Hamikdash above is Mekuven Beis Hamikdash Shalmat. And we'll see how the Rebbe learns that this is actually very important because this is what is accomplished the Chiddush through the second pshat. Beis. And the Rebbe is also going to explain this is Doa Girse in Rashi Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila Mekuven Keneged Shalmata without saying the word Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalmata. There's only one time Beis Hamikdash in the sentence. That the Beis Hamikdash above is directly opposite the below. Nit Beis Hamikdash Shalmat. Avos is Rashi mashmit legirsazu diverte Beis Hamikdash. So according to this version, why does Rashi take out the words Beis Hamikdash? Befrat as in the Friedike Tzveerter, in the previous two places that Rashi quotes this concept. So Rashi yedem loshem Beis Hamikdash. Migdosh Shalmato, Beis Hamikdash or Migdosh Shalmato. And over here, he takes out the word Beis Hamikdash, as the Rebbe would say, will explain how it fits exactly in the point that the Rebbe, that Rashi wants to bring here from the Medrash. The Rebbe explains in his Dalet that Rashi's problem is what is the meaning of the word hachinoisi. Usually, when we say the word hachinoisi, something prepared, you done something to prepare. Hashem is saying, "I'll bring you to the land that I prepared for you." What kind of a preparation was in Eretz Yisrael done for the Yidden? Adarabah, it was inhabited and it wasn't prepared. Dalet, the beer in there. Rashi is coming to caution us and answer a very simple question. In the words I have prepared. The meaning of the word achona, abashtimte Änderung in the Zach. It means you prepare something. There was a specific change in the item. You prepared it. Was the that's how it becomes prepared. You prepare it by doing something. It becomes fit and prepared for the idea for which you are preparing it. The question in our case is, what consisted, what did the preparation of Eretz Yisrael prepare so if nemen dort die Eden to accept the Eden there? How was it prepared? We don't find, as in Eretz Yisrael, we don't find anything changed from its situation before the way it's now. It's prepared it. How did he prepare it? But in the context, we're saying very clearly it's not prepared. There's still the goy, we have to chase him away. The Teuchen von Hemshech HaParsha, the content of the continuation of the portion is madgish and emphasized as the land is noch nit mochen for the Yidden, that the land is not prepared for the Yidden. In Eretz Yisrael, seine Dode Sheva Umes, the 7 nations are in Eretz Yisrael. Medarze erst vertreiben von land. We still first got to chase them out of the land. As darf kumen, as the pasuk says in Loshen Osid in the future, vihichadetiv, I will destroy them. Agoreshen, I will chase them out. It's not yet, not prepared. This is going to take place in the future. Unochmer, and furthermore, the pasuk describes that Shem says, "I'm not going to chase them out at once, because then the Pentir Balachachayis has saw that the land is going to be desolate." And is going to be attacked by all the animals, so Hashem will do it a little bit at a time. Means it's a long time off. So as it's not very soon in the future that is close. As can nit zayin bekorev, cannot be too quick. Lest the land will be desolate. As the pasuk says, it needs to be in a way, slowly, little by little, I'll chase him out. It was made their pasuk. So, what is the meaning of the verse? Mitten, I'll bring you to the place that I prepared. How did he prepare it? By answering Rashi, Rashi answers Asher do meant here. Achinoisi does not mean prepare. It means zimanti. Zimanti means just like an invitation. This meant nit atzugreitung durch hapula. It's not preparing through an action. Ton, do something. With the taich von achone bekam mekoimis as the translation, as the interpretation achone in many places. Nor asher zimanti losis lochem, that I have prepared to give to you. It's just like an invitation to give to you. As his blois given hazmona, he prepared it in a non-active way, non-action way, but just get it as a invite to me. Zimanti, euch von Loshen Zimun Island, also from the language of invitation. Wie bei Einladen Agas, just as when you invite a guest, there's no act. Is doch in dem Einladen. When you invite, there is no act of preparation. It's just by speech, simanti, sort of saying, inviting. Similar is in our case. The Eibishter hat Masmin given Eretz Yisrael. The Eibishter prepared Eretz Yisrael for the später dikenisina, with something which would be given later. Now, right now, there's no achinoisi. Not a physical, just as a preparation, sort of a speech to a zimun. For something he's going to give later. Zimanti loses locha. Zimanti, this is prepared to give to you later, but no preparation now. But normally, in most cases, a chanoisi means actually something happens now. Rashi brings therefore a second pirush. Bald over as the pirush for achon al piruv is hachshor v'shinu in their zach. Since in most cases the meaning of preparation means that there is some change in the item. Bringt Rashi at certain pirush. Rashi brings a second pirush. Umedroshe, he brings the medrash. Var mekoimi nikar kenegdei. My place is already recognized opposite the Beis Hamikdash. Was loy dem pirush, according to this pirush, hat sich aufgetan hachona v'achshor in the mokem. There was a preparation and making it ready, the place, but not neat in the mokem Hamikdash lamata. It wasn't in the Beis Hamikdash below. Nor in mokem Hamikdash Shomaylim Mekoima Nikar connected in my place, which is recognizable opposite the Beis Hamikdash Shomaylim. Bahai Taima is Rashi Medayik, and for that reason, Rashi specifically says Shebeis Hamikdash Shomaylo Mekumen connected Beis Hamikdash Shomata. Swap the lotion that first Shomaylo. Nicht in dem verkehrten Seder Kilashena Tanchuma, not in the opposite language as the Tanchuma. That Mata is a Milo, because we're trying to say the preparation took place in the Milo. While the Pula Sachona is given in an order for Migdash al Milo, because the act of preparation was the base of Migdash above. As Mikoimi for Migdash al Milo is given Nikir Kenegde, that in my place in the Migdash al Milo became recognizable opposite the Beis Hamikdash Shel Ma'ala from the Mokim Mikdash Shel Mata, from the place of the Mikdash below. In Ois Hey, the Rebbe explains why Rashi adds V'zeh echad min hamekoimis in this pshat, that it says that Mekro is that Beis Hamikdash Mekuven Shel Ma'ala is Shel Mata Mekuven Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shel Ma'ala, because at the end of the day, the pasuk says, I prepared, because the Beis Hamikdash Shel Ma'ala, if it was prepared, how come there's nothing prepared below? I mean, we don't see any movement below. So how is it that Hachinoisi, the Eibush, that prepares something above, and there is no impact below? And Rashi says, no, there was nothing prepared now. This is something which has been before. This is not something that could be recognizable, because this is just one of the places where it says this, which means that the preparation wasn't done now, but it's a general preparation. Let's look inside. Hey, this medrash itself, by saying that, would not be sufficient. It's not logical to say those was the Rebbe making given the Mokem HaMikdash Al Mailo, that when Hashem prepares the place of the Mikdash above, Zol Klau nit haben kein Wirkung of the Mokem HaMikdash Al Mata, should have no impact on the place of the Mikdash below. Was is Mekuven connected, which is opposite it. So you're saying I prepared, something happened, the base of Mikdash above, Shalom Mailo, that where it was prepared, but there's nothing happening in base of Mikdash Shalom Mata. Over Mirzen Take in Posik, by the other place, by Yaakovin, Vizeh Shara Shamayim. This is Beis Elikim, where he was davening, where he slept. And he says, this is the gate of the heaven, Mekuven L'maylo. Vu. Rashi brings them Eshtmo, which Rashi brings the first time, as Beis HaMikdash Shel Mailo, Mekuven Keneged Beis HaMikdash Shel Mata, that the Beis HaMikdash above is directed against the Beis Hamikdash Shel Mata, as Yaakov Marigish given Kedushas HaMokem de Lamata, that he felt the sanctity of the place below. So it was impactful, the fact that there is a Beis Hamikdash Lamailo. Ein Zek, it impacted, he said, Ein Zek Ki'im Beis Elikim B'zeh Shara Shamayim. So this place over here where he slept was awesome, because this is the Beis Elikim and this is the Shara Shamayim. The bald as the posik zokt as though is given Asharach Inoisi, that it was prepared Achon in the Mokem Mikdash Shel Mailo, a preparation, the place of Mikdash above, in a way that my place is already recognizable above it, connected from the base of Mikdash Shel Mato. Yachi Noisi, that it is ready. Hat doch gedacht sein Nicker, da muss euch in dem Mokem Mikdash Shel Mato. So it should have been recognizable in the place of the Mikdash below. But in the Pasuk, which doesn't seem at all. Wie stimmt das mit dem Teuchel von Hemshech HaParsha? How does this fit with the contents of the flow of the Parsha? Which is mudgish, with the emphasis, where it is emphasized as Eretz Yisrael, that the land of Eretz Yisrael, Koilo Mokem HaMikdash, which including the place of the Mikdash, is noch dan klal nit given great, was at all not prepared. Afile far bias bnei Yisrael Eretz, even for the bnei Yisrael to come to the land, let alone the place of the Beis Hamikdash. The far is Rashi Meisiv Mavayir. That's what Rashi adds and explains. This is one of the places that say Beis Hamikdash Shel Mailo Chulu. Der Pasuk meint nicht zu sagen. The Pasuk does not mean to say as it's Asher Achinoisi now is given Achone there was a preparation. Durch dem was Beis Hamikdash Shel Mailo mekuven keneged Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato. By the fact that the Beis Hamikdash above is directed against the Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato, and that's why that preparation was there. The Rachinoisi is given Ma'ozu Mikedem. That was already from a long time ago. Und das ist nur noch a Posik. This is just another verse. Zwischen andere. Euch Friedrich im Kreuz. Amongst other also previous ones. So this is already taken place. Was der Zelt wegen demselben Inyan, which relates about the same idea. As shown von früher, that already from before, is Beis Hamikdash Shel Mailo mekuvan connected Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato. The Beis Hamikdash above is directly opposite the Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato. Under Kvar mekoimi nikar connecting, my place is already recognized. Opposite is given from Friramol. It was already from before. Alamol was always. It was not something here. And that's why it's not a question. Was mir gefunden nicht, as soll it's werden in the Mokab Mikdash Shel Mato, that now there should be a change in the place of the Mikdash Shel Mato, because it's not something that took place now. This is an old thing that is a change. Al-Chinoisi, that it was a general preparation in the past. Moving their time from their girsa, now also understand the reason the Rebbe brought down the version that in our Rashi doesn't say the second time Beis Hamikdash. It says Beis Hamikdash Shel Mailo mekuvan keneged Shel Mato on the Werter Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato. It doesn't say Beis Hamikdash Shel Mato. Lahadgish, to emphasize, as the Achone Imokem Hamikdash Shel Mailo, that the preparation of the Beis Hamikdash above is nit verbunden mit dem Matzeh von Mokem Mikdash Shel Mato. It is not associated, not tied to the situation of the place of the Mikdash below. The Beis Hamikdash Shel Mailo is da, which means there doesn't have to be a Beis Hamikdash here. The Beis Hamikdash of exists. Afil when Lamata is nitoken Beis Hamikdash, even when there is no Beis Hamikdash. As is mekuvan keneged Shel Mato. It is only directed against the one. There's no Beis Hamikdash yet, but it's the place as felt their Beis Hamikdash. It's lacking. There's no Beis Hamikdash. The Faris can still in it, and because there is no Beis Hamikdash Lamato, so that's why it's okay that there is Nikar Mekoimi and there's nothing below. It was Afal Pias Kvar Mekoimi Nikar Connected, that even though place is prepared Connected, von deswegen setzt sich nicht Dolematik in Shinu Vachona. And yet over here below we don't see no change, we don't see no preparation, because it's not the Beis Hamikdash yet. There's no Beis Hamikdash. This is just a place which is in Lamailo. It's like that now. Va'adrabe. In Mokom Hamikdash Shel Mato, in the place of the Mikdash below, Gefine Zechumas Ha'olam, the Hepech of Beis Hamikdash. In the Beis Hamikdash, there is the nations of the world, which is the opposite of the Beis Hamikdash. So there's no real hachana here, because right now there is no Beis Hamikdash. Von den Yone Halacha Vov, was me kennen Rishna von the Pirush Rashi, from the halachic matters that we can learn from this Rashi, I says, no, amachloikes harishonim in das Abaye. There is a machlokes in the Rishonim in the opinion of Abaye. Abaye says, as hazmona milsahi, when you prepare, that is considered an act.